to another edition of the Silverbird Selection and another game review. Today's game is a Silverbird release from 1988. It's Mr Wino, and this is quite a hard game to find. I was really struggling to find it, and I was actually donated my copy by Richard Terrian. So thank you, Richard. I'm sure you're watching, so thank you very much. So this game obviously cost me nothing, which is great because it's quite a rare game to find. That's at least what I've classified it as, rare. So the question at the end of this game is, after I've played it, will I be raising a toast to it, or will I be drowning my sorrows? Let's find out. Here we have the front cover of the game then, and you can see it's the typical Silverbird packaging with the purple and black stripes. Reasonably nice logo there, Mr Wino, and there he is. Looks a bit like a disgraced Mr Man, I would say, drinking his bottles of beer or whatever he's drinking. There's a ladder in the background there, several ladders in fact. There's a telephone splattered on the floor or something like that. I'm not really sure what's going on there. And it says there, drinking is for Mr Wino, not kids. So a nice public service warning there on the front of it as well. Not glorifying drinking at all, obviously. So the spine's just got that Mr Wino logo on, which is fairly basic. And then on the back cover we've got the usual 4 screenshots for this type of game packaging, which look like Spectrum screenshots to me. And the info about the game simply says Wacky Wino is on the evil drink again and having a few problems, which doesn't really give you much indication of what's going on in the game. So looking inside the packaging, and we can see the usual stuff. List of forthcoming exciting Silverbird titles, which includes a few games there that are very familiar by now, and Mr Wino. Always like the fact that one of the forthcoming games is the game whose packaging we're looking at. Also Future Ball mentioned there, which I've mentioned before, was never actually released in the end. So you can get a catalogue as well. You can get 5 free games for saying what you think about the packaging. My opinion on that is well documented by now. Mail order info, and then moving on to the instructions, you can see Mr Wino copyright probe software. Guide Mr Wino around his worst nightmare so he can collect all the bottles to help him out of the mess he's in. Bottles open many doors, most of them lead to deeper trouble, so it's up to you to sort this poor soul out. Some loading instructions, and then very, very simple gameplay instructions, basically just the controls and nothing else. I think it's been made fairly clear there though, you've got to collect the bottles. So as expected, this Silverbird game does not have a very impressive loading screen. You can see it just says Mr Wino is loading, please wait, in plain text. And also it's got the scrolling message across the bottom, which most of these loading screens, if you can call them that, had. So it's basically just telling you how to play the game. Open doors to a new section. Hopefully he'll reach the last door and freedom from this nasty experience. Loading now, please be patient. And there we go, that's it. Nothing more to say about it, it's rubbish. Okay, so the game's loaded, and here you can see the title screen. Pretty nicely presented this. Nice background tune, which is by David Whittaker, who did loads of great music for the Mastertronic games. Not so many for Firebird, I think he did a few but not many. There's nothing really in the way of graphics on this screen, it's just as Probe presents Mr Wino, Commodore version by Michael Eager. He also did a few other games for Firebird software. We've just got the 3 options, which is 1 to start the game, which seems a bit unnecessary, I could just press the fire button. 2 for the instructions, 3 for high scores. There's also a scrolling message across the bottom, as is customary in these 1980s Commodore 64 games. So let's have a look at the instructions. So it basically just gives you a little overview of the game. Collect all the bottles, they will help you to find your way out of this mess. This wouldn't be any fun if there wasn't a few nasty little aliens every now and then. So here are a few of them. Okay, and then they scroll along, that's Mr Wino at the front, and then some of the other enemies that you can see throughout the game, I guess. Quite cutely done. And then it says Mr Wino, and I guess that's about it. So yeah, overall quite nice presentation I think on the title screen, no complaints there. So let's get on and play the game. Okay, so the game starts and you can quite clearly see it's a platformer. You've got to collect all the bottles, and on most stages the bottles open a door. You can see the door in the bottom right hand corner there, so you don't get through to the next part of the level until you've collected the 3 bottles. There's just the one enemy patrolling this level, which I don't really know what that's supposed to be. I mean, maybe it's a fireball, or maybe I feel like almost like it's a meatball. For some reason, I can't really explain why. But anyway, so when you collect the bottle, you get a little ditty of 10 green bottles to indicate that you've collected one. So through some trial and error, I've worked out how to complete most of the first level quite easily. So we'll get, sorry, the first screen I should say, not the first level. So there you go, there's the 3 bottles. Let's open the door. So I've just got to wait for this meatball fireball thing to disperse, and then I can go through to the next level. Pretty straightforward, this one. You just got to make your way across that area with the falling pink things, whatever they are. Just the 1 bottle to collect on this one. You have to be pretty quick because there is a limited air supply, which reminds me of Manic Miner and is completely annoying and unnecessary because this game is quite hard anyway, as you'll be seeing as we move through it. Moving up and down the ladders is a bit glitchy. That's probably the biggest problem to your sort of progress in the game, is actually negotiating these ladders. So here I'll just skip that level for that screen for the time being. I'm just going to make my way through here. You can see some knives falling up and down from the top of the screen there. My air's rapidly running out, and I think if I remember rightly, when the air runs out it's game over no matter how many lives you've got, so that's really dangerous, I think it's fair to say. Oh, there we go. So that's my first life lost. The flying meatball fireball got me, and oh, that's just terrible. I've just jumped straight through onto that and got hit by it straight away. So I've just got the 1 bottle to collect up here. Oh, see, now I can't get down the ladder, and that's game over. So that wasn't very good. I can do this first level. I'm going to try it again. That game did not last very long. I got my name in the high score table though. So let's move on and try and do it a bit faster, and also try and complete it this time. It's definitely hard. It's a very hard game, this, and you'll see that more as we move on if we get through the next levels. The air supply thing, yeah, that's just a terrible unnecessary thing when the platforming elements are hard enough as it is. Just got to wait for him to get out of the way, so I might have to hang around. Oh, there we go, that's worked out quite nicely there. There we go, that's the first screen cleared a little bit faster this time. So hopefully if he goes up the ladder, as if it's a it's just like a blob. So yeah, just pick my way across this. This is fairly easy. Yeah, you've got to be really precisely placed to get up the ladders, and that's the most annoying part of the game in terms of the core gameplay. So let's see if we can move through this a little bit faster than last time. Just make my way through here, grab this one. You can see the exit at the bottom right there, by the way. That's the exit of the first level. Effectively, you've got to collect all. I don't know if you have to collect all the bottles or just most of them to open that exit. Oh, that's just really poor game design. That's unfair because there's no way to get across there without. Oh, he's going to get me now as well. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, that's just really frustrating. That's poor game design again. Okay, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to try it one more time. I think I got exactly the same score as last time there, pretty much. Okay, so in the same position, you've already seen me several times, just trying to get to the end of this level. Let's see if we can get this guy to come up here, get down the ladder. Oh, this is going to be close. Oh, it's not too bad. So you just got to get through these knives here. Oh no, that was a stupid mistake. Oh dear, that was awful. got to be careful with that thing bouncing along, and obviously the spikes. That was a really bad mistake I made, but still got time to complete the level, hopefully, if I can just get this bit right, which I've managed to do. There we go, finally got the last bottle, open the gate to the exit, and here we go, I've completed the first level. It's taken a few attempts, which I've given up on and restarted before I got to that point, I have to say. Now if you thought the first level was hard, wait till you see the second one. So the first screen doesn't look too bad. These things, these beams don't do anything. So let's talk about the graphics while we're going through this. I don't think they're too bad. I have to say, when I looked at a static screenshot of the Commodore 64 version, the graphics look terrible, but actually when you're in the game they're not too bad. They're quite colourful. Mr Wino's got nice animation, quite a jolly looking thing. There's lots of other nice little sprites as well. This thing you have to jump over it, and you've got to get, this is one of those pixel perfect jumps that you need to do, which I managed to do. So can get, oh, that was close. So far it doesn't look too difficult, although these things moving around here could be hazardous, but so far it's not looking too bad. Another enemy there that we've not seen before. Now I know from playing this before that I have to go to the left here. You can go down, in fact I'll show you what happens when you go down. You get these things bouncing around. In fact there is actually one of those bottles to collect there. So yeah, as I was saying, graphics I think are pretty decent, but yeah, the best way to go here is down here, and then you're introduced to some new things, which are these pink worms, and actually you can collect those. So that's quite nice, I suppose. At least not everything's trying to kill you. Oops, that was almost death there. So the problem is, of course, you've got these the meatballs, as I've been calling them, scrolling around the play area as well. You've got to get all 3 bottles to open the gate. No, that's another one gone. That was a bit dicey. And there we go, that's game over. So as I said, second level, even harder than the first one. But I made a little bit more progress there to show you. Now what I'm actually going to do is load up a cracked version of the game with the cheat mode on, with infinite lives and infinite air, because I want to show you just how difficult this game gets beyond what you've seen so far, because once you get past the second stage, the third level is just borderline impossible. So I'll load that up and we'll take a look at a few of the screens without the detriment of only having 3 lives. But so far what you can say about it is it's a very tough game and very frustrating as well. Okay, so you join me back on level 2. I've got infinite lives and infinite air, which I'm going to need as we play through this, because you're going to see me die a lot. Oh, that was terrible. I jumped into the spikes there. That was stupid. It's respawned me on the last level I didn't die on, I guess, the last screen. Okay, so through here, we've seen these screens before. Trying to get down the ladders. So I mentioned the graphics, which I've said I think are pretty nice, not amazing, but reasonably nice, and sound I think is quite good as well. Obviously you've got the David Whittaker tune on the title screen. You've also got the in-game sounds are quite nice. You've got some little tunes that get played when you collect the bottles, and other little tunes. There's a tune at the end of each level as well, so I think they're nice touches. The sound effects are not too bad either, so overall I think the sound's quite nice. The big problem is the gameplay, and we'll get onto that. So I mean, look, these things just go backwards and forwards. There doesn't seem to be any way to predict which way they're going to go. They do seem to want to follow you, but not consistently. Like, what is going on with this one here? I am collecting some of these worms, by the way. I don't know if they're supposed to be like tequila worms. So just as one thing goes up the ladder, the other one comes down. Right, finally they've both gone down. Get the last bottle and move on to the next screen. This one comparatively is fairly easy. You can't collect that bottle at all though. There's no way to get that one, so that's a bit strange. Luckily you don't need it, because you just got to make your way across these platforms here now. I'm just waiting. I know as soon as I jump, yeah, that thing is going to pop out and get me. There we go, that's one done. Let's just go for it on that one. Oddly, I land on the roof of the exit there, drop down, and that's level 2 completed, which I never would have done how to not go infinite lives, because there's areas there where you just get killed over and over again. So let's move on to the third level, and as I said, this is where it just gets ridiculous. Straight away you walk onto the screen and that thing hits you. So here you've got to wait for the thing to come along, jump up, move along, but then I tried to jump over it, hit one of the spikes in the air. For some reason the bottles have actually turned green now, by the way. It's a bit glitchy in place as well now, because you can see that that thing moving along the ground is just only in that area. So here you've got to just drop down to avoid the drips. That's fairly straightforward, but you can't get through that side at the moment, so you've got to now make your way across to jump over this spike, I guess. Nope. Even getting close to the spike killed me. I guess I did that wrong. You must have to jump over the top here. Yeah, but then the spike coming from the ceiling got me. You can see if you had somehow got to this point with 3 lives, it wouldn't be long before you lost them all. Finally got past that. So got to get down this ladder, which again is always a glitchy. That's now opened the door. So there's 2 possible ways I could go here. I'm going to go this way. Can't really remember. I have played it once before with the cheats just to see how far I could get. So up to the top here. Well, that's great. That's just killed me straight away. There goes another life. There's another bottle collected there, and there goes another life. What am I doing here now? I need to try and get up to the top there. Clearly can't get up to this one at the left here. I'm gonna have to go a different way around to get to that. Oh no, that's another thing gonna get me. Yeah, so it's just so hard. I do want to try and just play through to a certain part. No, there we go, it's got me again. I want to play through to a certain part of this level to try and just show the most impossible bit that I've seen in the whole game, and that's saying something given just how hard this game is. Thanks a bunch, that's just got me as well. So here's a rare screen where nothing really kills you. We've obviously already done that bit at the top there, but just got to collect this one and then make my way up the ladder at the far side there, and this will show you the most difficult bit of the game so far, and that's saying something. As I said, this thing moves so quickly, it moves twice as fast as you do, and somehow you've got to get up and past it to get to that bottle at the top there. So yeah, this is just crazy. If by some miracle you got to this point with 3 lives, they would be gone in seconds. There goes another one. I mean, I didn't really even try then. I should be trying to be a little bit smarter about this. Oh no, I've made the decision wrong, and once again there goes a life. I think you need to wait for it to go up the ladder. There we go. But then it comes back down. No, actually I've got past it this time. So just collect this bottle over here. And there's one over here that I didn't collect on this screen that we already saw, the exit. So that opens the gate to the exit. So actually, what on earth happened there? I've got no idea. I just died for no reason that time. Yeah, so there's a few glitchy bugs in it. That one was obvious. So I am quite close to the exit. After this, I'm giving up, by the way. You don't need to see any more of this game. I just wanted to show this bit, which is just so unbelievably hard. It's just that you haven't got time to turn around and the thing's already on you and killing you. It's just ridiculous. Right, let's give this a go just to get to the final bit of this level. There we go, into the exit. I reckon I've killed myself or spent about 40 lives to get to this point. So yeah, it's just not good. So there you go, this is the next level, which I've seen once. I don't really care about at this point, but let's just look at a couple of screens and see how it goes. You can see the little worm things again. Actually, that wasn't too bad to get through unusually. This doesn't look so easy though. You've got to get underneath this thing somehow. Yeah, that's just impossible. So we're going to leave it at that point and move on to the review scores. As you can probably guess, the gameplay score is not going to be very high. So firstly, the packaging was pretty average, I would say. I mean, the image on the front cover is quite representative of the game, I would say. Instructions were very basic. Overall packaging, I think, is only worth a 6 out of 10. Presentation though in game is quite nice. You've got a nice title screen, you've got the instructions in game, which was nice tune from David Whittaker, and a high score table. Not that you'll get a very high score on the game, I imagine, but all those things are pretty good, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for presentation. Graphics are fairly average. I think that some of the sprites are nicely drawn, the animation's nice on them, the platforms and ladders are pretty basic. I'm going to go with a 6 out of 10 for the graphics. Sound though is good. You've got the tune, as I mentioned, from David Whittaker. You've also got little tunes in game, pretty good sound effects as well. I think the sound's worth a 7. And then you get to the gameplay, and I have to admit, when I first started playing this, I thought, well, it's difficult, but it's not that difficult. I got through the first level after about 4 or 5 tries maybe, and I thought, this isn't too bad actually, this game. It's difficult but not impossible. But then I got to the second level, gave up on making any progress on that, and eventually used the cheat mode with the cracked version that I've got to actually try and get to further levels, and I realised just how difficult it was. There's multiple problems here. Firstly, getting up and down the ladders is difficult, and that makes it difficult because there's so many enemies moving up and down them as well. The air supply thing was just completely unnecessary given how difficult the game is anyway. Then you've got the fact that some of the enemies move so fast that you can't avoid them. They move erratically as well. There's little glitches in the game that mean that enemies will spawn on top of you when you move from one screen to another. All these things are really badly programmed, bad design. So whereas originally I was thinking this is like a 5 or 6 out of 10 game for gameplay, I knocked it all the way down to 3. One thing that would have helped is if you had a password system in it, so at least you wouldn't have to keep replaying the first level, and you could actually try the second and third levels with more lives perhaps. But realistically, even with a password system, you'd really struggle to get past the second stage, and the third stage I think is just impossible to complete with 3 lives, just absolutely impossible. So yeah, I'm going to give it an overall playability score of 3. That gives it a total score of 6 out of 10, and like I said originally when I was first playing it, I didn't think it was too bad, but the more I've played it, the more I realised it's a really bad game in terms of gameplay, so definitely not worth the $1.99 asking price. It's a bit of a shame really, a bit more balancing of the gameplay, a bit more play testing, ironing out a few of the bugs, and it would have been a pretty decent game I think. Not an amazing platformer, but certainly a decent budget platformer, but definitely not worth the $1.99 in the state that it was released in. So there you go, that's my thoughts on Mr Wino. Definitely not toasting that one, it's more of a drown your sorrows thing. So if you've got any thoughts about the game, then let me know in the comments as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.